Okay. So as you told me, we just have to prepare for the interview only for today, right? And one more thing, if we talk about the Citrix, so to set up the entire data center, how Citrix works, what are the core components of Citrix like, and how to troubleshoot the issues into the production. So to cover all those kind of topics practically, it might take some time, but in this I can guide you, or I can let you know what are the most important things that can be asked by the interviewer if we're talking about the Citrix, right? So as you told me, and as per your overview, what you have given, I can consider like you are having some basic knowledge, or means some intermediate knowledge for Active Directory management, right? As-
Yes.
And what about DSCP and DNS? How you can rate yourself in those?
Yeah, I can create scopes in DHCP, manage
Mm-hmm,
reserve IPs,
mm-hmm,
and DNS like creating
mm-hmm,
that lookups, forward lookups for IP address to host name.
mm-hmm.
Uh, Kind of a basic things I can do.
Okay. So basically, first, if you have some idea what is Citrix, just let me know what is Citrix. Any idea if you
What
have?
I see till now is that Citrix is a platform which provides virtualization of desktop and
Mhm.
application
Right.
to
And okay, so basically, we talk about the basic definition of Citrix, right? So here it is. So basically, this is a company located in US, Florida, and it's provide products for virtualization perspective, right? And the most common and most popular products from Citrix is Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop. So earlier, those were named as Citrix Gen App and Gen Desktop, but now after release 7, they guys rename Gen App and Gen Desktop to Citrix Virtual Apps and Virtual Desktop. Got it? So this is the basic definition. If someone can ask you, you should be able to answer, right?
yes.
And coming to the working and key components, this is a basic introduction, right?
Yes.
So as per your, give me a moment. Okay. So this is a working and key component kind of, you can consider this kind of network diagram, how Citrix works, right? So right now, what you are doing, starting from the left, you are doing just this stuff, right? What you are doing, you are installing Citrix Workspace app on end user device, right? This is your job profile right now, correct?
Yes.
So once you install that Citrix Workspace or Citrix Receiver application into the local desktop or laptops, whatever is being used in organization. So after that, what user has to do? User has to enter some web address, right? It should be your company storefront portal, right? So here comes the storefront server, and that left hand side thing is for end user client, and this is our entire data center. What we have to build and what on which you have to work as a Citrix administrator, right? So this stuff can be taken care by the desktop support engineers, what we have in every organization, right? But as an administrator, it's your responsibility to take care of entire data center side infra, right? So basically, you can ignore the Citrix gateway. It is a firewall, and what the firewall name from Citrix is NetScaler. So that we can cover later. What is NetScaler? So once user install that application into the laptop or desktop, then user must have to open a web browser. In that web browser, user have to enter some URL or storefront address. It should be like byd dot blah 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 dot com or your company storefront, right? So once storefront web page loaded, actually storefront server is a web page server, and it is a kind of website for company, right? So once user enters the credential, a web page comes up, and on that web page, user has to enter their credentials, whatever the credentials. Once credentials entered, Then the request goes to the delivery controller, and from delivery controller it is redirected to the Active Directory server for what? For authentication, right? Once Active
Yes.
Directory server approves the authentication, then request again goes back to the delivery controller. Then it will go to the license server, like what machines or what virtual application or desktop has been allocated to user, right? So, and after all those things, the request come back to delivery controller, then goes to the SQL server. SQL server is used for the database, like it can store the logging sessions, the site informations, the user information, what user is doing, for how long he is logging into the session, when he disconnect, when he connects. All those logs can be found into the SQL server, into the database, right? So after SQL Server, again a request goes to delivery controller. Then from delivery controller, it will go to the hypervisor. Why? Because all the virtual machines and desktops or applications are hosted on the hypervisor itself, okay, or a cloud service. So once all those stuff gets finished, then user will get a next page, and on that next page user will get all the application, like just suppose if we have published Adobe Reader or Excel or any other application to end user, user will get those icons on next page, right? So this is a kind of basic infra, means it is a very basic question. An interviewer can ask you, like, just let me know how Citrix works, right? So you have to explain those terms. Coming to the NetScaler, so basically NetScaler is a soft firewall given by the Citrix, and we can configure NetScaler as a load balancer. Just suppose you are having more than 5,000 users into the organization, right? And you do not want all users to log in into the same delivery controller again and again. So what you have to do? You have to balance, like uh, you have to configure the load balancers to redirect the connections to all the server in equal amount. Okay, so this is a task of Citrix. Give me a moment. This is a task for the NetScaler. Okay, now coming to the director and studio. So basically Citrix director is a kind of remote tool which can be used to take a mirror copy or to take a remote session of end user session, and we can troubleshoot the issues. Just suppose if user is reporting like he is unable to log in, or he is any application is got freeze or got stuck. So those kind of issues we can troubleshoot with Citrix Director. So basically it is a troubleshooting tools like TeamViewers or any other tool. Okay. And Citrix Studio is a centralized management console. With that single console, you will be able to manage entire Citrix infra. With that single console, you will be able to create the machine catalogs. You will be able to publish the application. You will be able to create a group policies. You will be able to create users, multiple things you can perform with that GUI console. Okay, so if I'm talking about the core components of Citrix, okay, so basically the core component of Citrix are delivery controller, Citrix Studio, Citrix Director, license server, and storefront server. Okay, hypervisor is an additional thing. Why? Because it's not always recommended, means it's not always mandatory to use Citrix hypervisor. We can use VMware ESXi server, we can use Hyper-V. Multiple hypervisors is available nowadays into the market, right? So we have multiple options for hypervisors. So as we are we are learning for Citrix only, so that is the only reason why we have considered Citrix hypervisor here. Okay, so basically these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are the core components for Citrix. Okay, and these are the components from Microsoft, right? Not from Citrix, like Windows SQL Server 2019 or whatever the edition, and Active Directory is separate part from Microsoft. Got it? Any doubt? Any confusion in that?
Yes, so one question is that actually two. The delivery controller should be one in a company, or we can keep like many storefront and this one.
In production, you will get more than at least minimum 3 or 4 delivery controller in your organization for redundancy perspective. Okay,
Okay, as you said that this Citrix gateway will load balance all the delivery controllers. So that's
Yeah,
when
right.
it will
So what
be
we have to do, we have to configure all the delivery controller with the net scaler, right? Because we do not want the entire load on a single delivery controller, right?
okay, okay.
So what
Just
we
one
can
more
do,
question is that
Mhm. Yeah, tell me.
yeah, for the server, this one hypervisor, this
Hmm.
all desktop application or this virtual servers,
Hmm.
it will be not on Citrix Studio. It will be
Uh,
separate.
Look, Citrix Studio, it is just a console, okay? So it will listed on Citrix Studio like, this machine is hosted on this hypervisor, but the practical location of that virtual machine will be on hypervisor. You will get all the list on Studio, but those are not hosted on the Studio, right?
Okay, okay,
Okay.
got it.
Any other question in that?
No, no, that's it. So just to know that
Mhm.
we can have this hypervisor in any of the hardware. Okay,
Yeah,
then we
actually,
can create.
Dell servers or Nutanix box or HP servers, right? Those servers are recommended to run the hypervisor with multiple CPUs and very great amount of RAM will be required. So those are pretty high configured hardwares, right?
So
So
it is like a hypervisor from Citrix or from VMware. I have seen too many applications like VMware workspace. I think workstation
Workstation Pro you are talking about, right?
vSphere. What is the difference on all this? vSphere, EXI something VMware.
So just let me know what are hypervisor. Just let me know what is virtualization. What do you understand with the virtualization?
Virtualization is something like we can make any physical machine
Mm-hmm.
into multiple virtual machine by the help of hypervisor.
And why?
Hello.
Yeah, and why we have to do that? What is the requirement for that?
Requirement is that because normal machines end user machine will not support high end softwares or something like that. So to provide end
Okay,
user
so
with a
let me explain this. Actually, with the help of virtualization, we can utilize any hardware up to its 99% of efficiency. 100% is not ideal in practical world, right? So up to 95% we can utilize any hardware. How? Just suppose you have got a laptop with 16 GB of RAM and 500 GB of hard drive, right? And what you have done, you have just installed Windows 10 machine, single Windows 10 operating system into that hardware, right? So in that way, that single Windows 10 application will never be, Windows 10 operating system, it will never be able to utilize that 16 GB of RAM and 500 GB of hard drive. So with the help of hypervisor, what you can do, you can install the hypervisor on the operating system, and into that hypervisor, you can create multiple virtual machines to save your hardware cost, right? So this is a basic task for virtualization. Why we are using the virtualization? It is used to reduce the cost for the company, the hardware cost. Okay,
okay. Can we do it on the computer like laptop as well? If we have like because
that's
right now
no
I
no
have 24
wait.
GB RAM.
How many GB of RAM? How much GB of RAM you have?
It's like just let me check. It's like 24 GB RAM.
Yeah, you can do it. Do that. Okay. So coming to your point, what are the difference between the hypervisors like VMware Workstation Pro and the
Yeah.
VMware ESXi, right? So basically, we are having two types of hypervisors available into the market, right? So, and the type is type 1 hypervisor and type 2 hypervisor. Okay. So type 1 hypervisor is what on physical hardware we can directly install that hypervisor as an operating system like Citrix hypervisor or VMware ESXi. Like to install VMware ESXi, there is no Windows required. You can directly install that operating system on physical hardware as an operating system. Okay, so this is your type 1 hypervisor, which is generally common in for data centers or for the organization. Now coming to the type 2 hypervisor. Type 2 hypervisor is something, it is basically it is an application and it is required a operating system for installation. In your case, it is VMware Workstation Pro, Oracle VirtualBox, or any other application, right? So just suppose, let me do that. Wait for it.
We spare also for the operate this one. What for
Type 1,
operating
type 1.
type 1 for hardware.
Yeah. Look, in my laptop, what I am having this, like a VMware Workstation Pro, right? So to install that VMware Workstation Pro, my primary requirement is operating system. Like it should have, my laptop should have some operating system. It could be Windows 7, Windows 10, or Linux, or any other like Mac OS, right? Something is required. But for hypervisors, type 1, which is used in MNCs, for those, we directly install hypervisor on the physical hardware. And those hypervisors are always in Linux flavor. Like Citrix is also a Linux Citrix hypervisor. Then your VMware VSXi is also a Linux flavor hypervisor. And after that, we will get one console to manage that hypervisor with application, or over the URL. We can manage, we can create multiple virtual machines on those hypervisors. Got it?
Okay. Yes, got it.
Okay. So actually, basically, I have divided the entire series into the 10 lectures actually, but as we do not have that much time to cover all the 10 lectures practically, okay, but I can explain you verbally, no issue in that. So the
Okay.
entire CCA5 certification, that is Citrix Certified Administrator, I have divided the entire series into 10 lectures. First lectures will be introduction and prerequisites. In the second lecture, we will learn how to install and configure the delivery controllers and other core components. As I shown you here, these are the delivery controller and these are the core components. Like, and in the third one, we will learn how to install and configure the hypervisor. In the fourth one, we will create a site and we will add a delivery controller to the site. In the fifth one, we will learn how to install virtual delivery agent. In the sixth one, we will learn how to create machine catalogs, then how to create delivery groups, how to install storefront server, where it gone? Okay. And in the ninth lecture, we will actually test our deployment, what we have done and how things are working. And 10th lecture is for troubleshooting and backup plan in production. So that was my agenda. So coming to the prerequisites, so basically to host any data center, these are the prerequisites for Citrix. Like first thing, we will be requiring the domain controller, right? Why? For authentication purpose. So our first server will be domain controller for authentication. Second server will be our delivery controller, and we can configure all the components, core components of Citrix on delivery controller. Third and fourth will be our hypervisors to host the virtual machines. Second hypervisor is for redundancy perspective, like if first one goes down, then we have to shift the entire operation on second hypervisor in real time. Okay. And
Yeah.
fifth and sixth one, those will be client machines. Like with those client machines connected into our domain, we can test our entire infra, like how things are working. Okay. So this is a basic intro. So any doubt in this regarding the working and key components? This is the categorize categories for the entire course, or schedule
No.
sessions for entire course,
Actually,
and
I
these
have
are
seen
the.
some of your videos with one-on-one session.
Mhm,
So I'm clear about like the first three this one from your course.
mhm,
Where is it? The other page. So that installing Citrix, that your course all
mhm.
component. This one till here I have seen this install and configure Citrix hypervisor.
And why you
So
have not seen the remaining one?
but I did not get the time because yesterday only I saw your channel. I have
Okay.
seen some and I because I have too many questions and tomorrow is the interview, so I thought let's directly contact you. and make
Okay,
it right.
no worries. I will let you know the things. So please do not afraid for the interview. Okay, it will be better learning for you, right? So you have to give your 100%. Okay, and you have to work hard. Actually, it's quite uh, difficult to grab up or to capture the things in a single day, right? If you do not
Yeah.
have any practical knowledge. So I will let you know theoretically, practically you can see my videos. You will get much from there as well. Okay. So this is the basic introduction. You must be able to answer the basic things. This is a starting point for any interview, right? If you will not be able to answer the basic things, then uh, it will be bad for you. Okay. So I will share that presentation file to you as well before your interview. Okay, so that uh, you will get a chance to review it again. Okay.
No problem. The second image,
Mhm,
only this storefront,
mhm.
its job is to just show the web page or login page of the Citrix.
Right. Look, store is like a store. Like if you have some office or if you have your home, yeah, means there must be address should be there, na? Like you can share that address to your relatives or to your customer. Like you have to visit that address to reach you, right? So this is similar to that only. Got it?
Uh,
This is a
okay.
address for this is a web address for your organization. Like if you must have to ask user like if you want to get your application, then you have to visit this store, right?
So we can have this multiple storefront
Yeah, we can have
or it,
multiple storefront servers as per the department, like if you have a HR departments, or also we can configure multiple storefront regional wise as well, right? Just suppose if your one office is located in Mumbai and one is in Canada, so you can create multiple storefront server to redirect users who are from Canada to Canada storefront, and the users who are from India, and you can redirect them to India server. Got it?
okay,
Why
okay,
to
got
India
it.
server? Just for the fast connectivity, right? If I ask the Indian user to connect to my Canada server, so bandwidth should be there, na? It will take time. Some lagginess will be there. Got it?
Yeah, okay, okay, good.
So now these are the basic interview questions. Okay, as we are having only 8 minutes remaining, I am getting that pop up. So no worries. What I will do after this call, I will after 2 minutes I will share another invite to you. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. So these are the basic interview questions from Citrix. Like, what is FMA? In addition, mention the major difference between IMA and FMA architecture, from which version FMA into. So, do you have any idea for this?
No.
Okay, so basically, if we talk about the Citrix, okay, so earlier Citrix has been started with IMA. Now, those things has been changed to FMA. So, in IMA, basically IMA is independent management architect, right? In that particular thing, you have separate console for each operations, like for session hosts, for the zones, to create the delivery groups and load evaluator. So those kind of things. Actually, IMA was used in version before 6.5 version of Citrix, and after 7 version FMA has been launched, because in 6.5 version no delivery controllers was there. Okay, no storefront server was there. We have to configure multiple things manually. Okay, but if someone asks you the comparison, so what you can do, you can take a snapshot or this, and you have to remember few points. Like first one is full form, of course, as it's telling you, like independent management architect means it is independent. For every component you will have to log on to different servers, right? But in FMA it's a flexicast management architect, and the benefit of FMA as it is today is that you can manage the entire data center with a single console, which is Citrix Studio, as I told you earlier, right? But In earlier version 6.5, no Citrix Studio was there. So you can create machine catalogs with FMA. You can configure the virtual desktop agents. You can create a VDA, gravity controller, multiple things are there. Okay. So what you have to do, you have to remember some points. Okay. Someone may ask you what is the difference between IMA and FMA. So what you have to answer, like before version 6.5, IMA was there and it was independent management architect, and after release of version 7, IMA has been discontinued and FMA has been introduced as a flex cart management architect. And with the help of flex cart management architect, we can easily manage the entire infra with single console. Got it?
Okay. Yes, got it. But this one, Zen app 6.5
Mhm.
and Zen desktop is different application or it is same?
Actually, Gen app is for application virtualization and desktop is for the desktop virtualization, because sometimes there is a requirement, like if you have some user who actually not required any desktop, you can directly publish any application to them and they can access their applications, right?
Oh,
So to publish applications, Gen app, and to publish the desktop, Gen desktop. Got it? Like we have
yeah.
multiple users into the organization and they always requiring a desktop as a workspace, right?
Yes.
So for those users, we have to publish the desktop. Okay.
Okay. What is this VDA, Virtual Delivery Agent?
VDA is an application which is installed on any operating system, and it is responsible to make communication between delivery controller to that particular physical or virtual machine. You can install VDA client on physical or virtual machine any. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now coming to this is the most important question. Like, please explain few FMS services. Right. What is the full form of FMS? I just told you.
Yeah.
What?
For flex card
Flex task management, right?
management, flex card management architecture.
Architect, right? So it is a this is a very important question, and interviewer may ask you like, please explain some few services, right, for FMS services. So earlier, actually, when Citrix was started, right? When Citrix was started, only 6 service was there into the market from Citrix, right? Now all those service has been increased to 18 services. Okay, so in FMA service, first service will be your broker service. What is broker service? Broker service is responsible for a new session, right? Just suppose if any user is connecting to your infra, right? And once he enters the credentials and other stuff, right? After verification and validation, it's handle the communication from VDA desktop, right? Have you ever launched any VDI with the help of Citrix Workspace ever?
Uh, VDI is what I
The
have.
virtual machine or application, whatever posted for your end users. Have you ever logged
Yeah,
into?
yeah. I have launched some softwares, E10 software
Okay.
on this workspace for the
Okay.
clients.
So while those softwares are into the session, this service is responsible to host that session, which is broker service. Got it?
Okay.
Now coming to the machine creation service. So machine creation service, actually machine catalogs are nothing. They are just the virtual machines which is hosted on the hypervisor. Okay. And to make communication to with all the to manage the creation and deletion of all the virtual machine, this service is responsible, which is machine catalog service. So if someone asks you what is machine catalog, so you can tell them like machine catalogs are the virtual machines which are hosted on the hypervisor. Got it?
Okay.
Now coming to the configuration service. Configuration service handles all the you know like communication settings, or it's handle all the communication ports or the communication information in FMA services. FMA is Flex Management Architect, right? Again, another important service will be Active Directory Identity Service, and it is responsible to handle all the uh, tasks which is related to Active Directory console. It could be a user authentication, any service, right? Hosting service is for the hypervisor. Why? Because we are hosting all the virtual machines on our hypervisors only. Okay.
Okay.
And next one is delegated administration service, which is responsible to validate the administration and database management. Monitoring service is for the monitoring perspective. So, buddy, as we are having only 1 minute left, I'm disconnecting this call and we will connect in 2 minutes. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.